Okay, this is Mr. Elmhorst with a sixth grade math lesson. We're going to take a look at integers, opposites, and absolute value. So for the first part, just a quick recap from yesterday. We started talking about rational numbers, integers, and whole numbers. So whole numbers are going to include all the positive numbers on a number line and zero, but it does not include the between the numbers values, the partial numbers. So integers are going to be all those whole numbers, all the positives, and then their opposites, which would be the negatives, and also still no partial numbers, nothing between the numbers. Then rational numbers are going to include all the whole numbers, integers, and that's where the group will include all of those partial numbers, which would be the decimal values and then the fractions with the remainders. So whole numbers are going to be starting at zero, going to the right, but it's only going to be exactly on the complete numbers, the whole numbers, the positive numbers and zero. Integers will include the whole numbers, zero, positives, and then their opposites. And then integers will include the negative values. So again, nothing between the numbers, no decimals or remainder values. And rational numbers will include all of the above, whole numbers, integers. But then whole numbers or rational numbers will include positives, negatives, and zero, but then all the little partial numbers that are between the numbers on the number line. So integers, we're going to get a little closer look at, take a closer look at them. Integers are going to include positive, zeros, and then their opposites. So the opposite of positive, so we got all the positives and zeros, but on the number line, the opposites would be the negative values. So the opposite of positive 1 would be negative 1. The opposite of positive 9 would be negative 9. And the opposite of negative 5 would be positive 5. So you're just taking a look at opposites and making the connections here. So as far as vocabulary, we could say the opposite of positive would be negative. The opposite of negative would be positive. The opposite of down would be up, and then the opposite of up would be down. The opposite of left is right. They go together. The opposite of east is west. Increasing and decreasing, withdrawal and deposit, ascending. Ascending is for airplanes and scuba diving, that's elevation, and that would be descending. And you can come up with some of your, a few of your own examples in your small group. So now that's opposites. So opposites means the equal value, the equal distance from zero on the other side of zero. Now we're going to talk about absolute value. Absolute value is any number's distance from zero, but it's distance. It's not an opposite. So for example, -7 would be 7 jumps or 7 units away from zero. So what's the absolute value? -7 is 7 units from zero. And then +7 is also 7 units from zero. We're not looking at what direction, we're just saying how far. So the absolute value of +7 would be just 7. Absolute value is just a distance. So it's just telling you how far it is, but not whether it's positive or negative. So these little bars here, that means absolute value. So absolute value uses these bar symbols, and that means to give the value of the number inside the bars without the sign. So -33, absolute value is -33 is 33 units from zero. So the absolute value of -3/4, the -3/4 is just 3/4 from zero. And then even though it is a decimal, 0.5, all it is, the absolute value is 0.5 from zero. So here's some examples. We're going to do those in class. So put a solid circle for -9 and show how far it is from zero, but then also show the opposite on the other side. Pay attention to up above, opposites. And then this one is just showing you how far is it. What is the absolute value from zero?